Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Okay, so I'm sure like a lot of you, I've just finished watching the Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury virtual press conference. They were shown at the same time, one on Top Rank YouTube channel and the other one on Queensbury. I'll put one of them in the description box if you haven't seen it already. It was done via Zoom. They spoke with Tyson Fury first, then Dillian Whyte afterwards. And for some reason, the chat seemed to go absolutely crazy, as in comment when Dillian Whyte came on the screen. That shows you the power, the pulling power that Dillian Whyte has, the brand that he has in this particular fight. Although, speaking of the chat, a lot of people, for some reason, well, firstly, big up to everybody who was saying hello to me over there. Of course, I was trolling a little bit in that comment section, but of course, I'm just fishing. But hello to everybody who said hello. Of course, there was like a lot of trolls who were just absolutely begging for my attention. For some reason, they must have been more focused on trying to get my attention than what they were actually watching the press conference. Oh, Sport and Icons just got back from Portugal with Dean and Dillian. I've never been to Portugal in my life. Sport and Icons benefit sheet. Never claimed not one benefit ever in my life. Sport and Icons is secretly married to Dean. I'm already married to a woman. Sport and Icons wants babies with Dillian. With two men, can't have babies. Anyway, all they've really done is feed the machine, because during that very, very short period of time, was a press conference about half hour or so, my subscribers went up by just under 40. Now, I usually do more than that in a day, but not in that kind of time frame. You fed the machine is what you've done. Hello, thank you very much. Keep talking about me across other people's platforms. I appreciate it. Now, the press conference itself, how'd it go? Well, Frank Warren, he kind of started off with, this is the Tyson Fury Roadshow. 94,000 tickets sold because this is Tyson Fury's homecoming. Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight that ever lived. Tyson Fury this, that and the other. Basically, very boring, very predictable, very crap, Frank, if I'm being brutally honest. But Tyson came across very, very well. Tyson was not clowning around. And I never sensed Tyson was lying. Unbelievable, right? Yeah, I swear to you, I'm not joking. I don't believe he actually lied in this press conference at all. He came across really cool. He was relaxed. He was chilled. He was showing respect to Dillian. Of course, he was mentioning how Dillian is the number one, the interim champion, the mandatory challenger, and he deserves respect. And that's the respect that he was giving him by training hard in training camp. He couldn't understand and can't understand why people are looking over Dillian Whyte, because he certainly ain't. Dillian Whyte is dangerous. He's a legitimate threat. That said, okay, so this was the kind of thing, although I will say though, I mean, whoever chose the reporters, what's wrong with you? I mean, some of the questions were mad. You've got some absolute numpties out there asking questions. Quite clearly a select few. Although I will say though, big up to Steve from Boxing UK. He's a good pal of mine, and I'm glad to see that he managed to get at least one question fired in, and it happened on the Dillian Whyte section. Although Dan Raphael, how come you got a section for Dillian and for Tyson? Nobody else did, but you did. Why? And you asked stupid questions, by the way. Anyway, that's it. So Tyson, he came across very, very well. Okay, so big props to him. I have no criticism of anything that he said. Of course, the part everybody was waiting for, will Dillian Whyte turn up? What's he going to say? Well, Dillian, of course, was going to be asked, well, why is it that you've been quite or fairly quiet? Why is it that you haven't done a press conference? Now, I've told everybody this before. Well, the reason is, and of course, he didn't say that in this particular press conference, but because he did say something else. He can't say too much, so I didn't expect him to say too much during this particular press conference because the arbitration is still going on. I know some people don't want to believe that, the arbitration is fake, it's not real, we can't see any kind of info on it, and like, it's real, okay? It's still ongoing. If you don't believe it, don't believe it. I couldn't really care less, but it is going on. So one of the reasons why he hasn't done interviews with me and anybody else, and this is what Dillian told me, is that not because he didn't want to do them, it's because he didn't want to say something, the wrong thing, and it goes against him with the arbitration. He didn't want to say something, then it gets twisted, and it goes against him during the arbitration, okay? That's why, okay? But anyway, for this particular one, he was saying that, well, you can't have one hand and have a clap, okay? You can't clap with one hand. You can't have a dance without a dance partner. What he's saying here is that he got treated with total disrespect from Frank Warren, for example. Total disrespect. And of course, he's not necessarily talking about the split, but I'm sure he is. He's talking about other things. The fact that they only gave him 4 tickets, which is one of the reasons why he didn't turn up for the press conference. 4 tickets. Out of 90,000, 4 tickets. It's total disrespect. And he knew about this before the press conference. One of the reasons why he didn't turn up, to start with. The fact that he was offered Ryanair tickets. Were they £21 each or something like that from Portugal? Ryanair tickets. See, Dillian, because he's a pay-per-view fighter, because he's a headline fighter, he's used to a certain amount of respect and treatment. Of course, from Matchroom, he would get private planes. He would get private transportation. And if that wasn't available, he would get upgraded class on the planes and that, things like that. So he's used to a certain kind of thing. When you're offered trashy Ryanair tickets in comparison to what he's used to, by the way, I'm not saying Ryanair's trashy, not at all. Pretty cool, actually. I've used Ryanair before. But that's the kind of thing that he was used to. He's literally being treated as your way fighter. Of course, he's the B-side. Of course he is. But the most important message is that this is Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. This is not the Tyson Fury show. This is the Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte show. How many times have I said this across all the videos? People were buying tickets to watch Tyson versus Dillian Whyte. People will be clicking that button to watch Tyson versus Dillian Whyte. Whether it's because you support Tyson, whether it be because you support Dillian Whyte, whether it be because you support both of them, however it may be, that's the reason why. Very few people will be clicking that button or have bought a ticket just because Tyson Fury was there and you had absolutely no idea that he was fighting Dillian Whyte. Although going back to the reporters, I don't know why they seem to have a lot of American reporters on there. Sorry lads, people in America, for the most part, will not be watching this fight. They don't care because it's 2 Brits. That's the truth of it. Okay, that's like having Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford. Huge fight in America. It's a decent fight here. People would be quite interested. But it ain't going to do great pay-per-views because they're not British. That's how it is. I know some people, well, we don't really care about nationality. Well, okay, that's cool, you don't. Most people do. All right? But that said, so that was pretty much the theme of it. That Dillian, of course, was very unhappy. And, of course, he was asked, will you be turning up to next week's press conference? On Thursday, the head-to-head one. And he said, well, it depends. Because, of course, there are still certain things that's going on. Whereas you can sign a contract, but you have an agreement. And this is boxing, okay? This happens all the time. You have an agreement, you sign the contract, pretty much say, yeah, the fight's on, but with the promise of more talks and more things can and will be worked out. But if they're not being worked out, what do? Well, you want me to do A, B, and C, but yet you're not giving me anything back. You're giving me 4 tickets to the show. You're trying to flog me Ryanair tickets. These are the kind of things that's going on. Have you ever seen a WBC #1 mandatory challenger or interim champion, let alone collective one, only getting 20% of a purse? No, you haven't. It's total disrespect. And that was pretty much the theme of Dillian Whyte. Of course, Dillian, I know Dillian has been wanting to do press. I know he's been wanting to do interviews with me, and I'm sure other people in that as well. He wants to do the promos for his fans, for those who support him. But there's principles in mind here. There is. There is. And Frank Warren has shown him nothing but disrespect. Hopefully now, Frank will see, actually, you know what? We need this to do very, very well at the box office. Maybe this is why Dillian is starting to do things. Maybe now Frank Warren is starting to open up a little bit. Anyway, that's my thoughts, my reaction to this particular press conference. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.